Hello, my name is Jennifer Wickliffe, and I will briefly introduce myself in a moment. Before I do, I'll tell you why I'm here today, and that is to talk about these COVID-19 weight gain pounds. Of course, we've been in quarantine and we've endured stress and uncertainty and sorrow as never before. So it makes sense that with the gym closed and all of this sense of what is coming from day to day, that we would eat the things that maybe aren't the healthiest for us. But I'm here to tell you that we can turn the corner, and just as you put those pounds on, we can take them right back off. Before we leave this slide, I wanted to talk about this business of environmental influences. And if we go back to about the mid 70s, we were sailing along with respect to weight like this. And then somewhere around the mid 70s, our weight began to rise as a nation in every age group, in every ethnicity, and every race, with slight variations in each. So what does that tell us? Well, that tells us that we did not all collectively get together and decide to eat more calories than our bodies would burn off in the course of the day. So there must have been some environmental influences. So we think of weight gain as a population health problem. Who am I? Well, I'm a former educator, a former corporate trainer who got an interest in nutrition and behavioral health and went back to school to study it. So if you'd like to know more about me, I encourage you to go to my site at essentialnutrition.co and check out the details. What are we going to talk about today? Well, I want to elaborate a little bit on a gentleman whose name is Dr. Carl Rogers, who came up with the client-centered approach and also help you begin to kind of shape your environment in the way that you can with the NOVA classification system. So here's Dr. Rogers. In essence, what he's saying is that without compassion and positivity and acceptance in the moment, that you keep people from moving forward. And I think one of the most powerful parts of this I could reflect on in my own life when I saw my endocrinologist and failed an oral glucose tolerance test is that she told me I would be on insulin in the years to come. I was very frustrated with that and very distressed emotionally. And instead of compassion and acceptance and maybe the discussion of a potential lifestyle change, I'm being told that this is the way things are going to be. Well, my endocrinologist may not have known me and wouldn't have understood what kinds of things I could have done. I'm saying the same, that when you're met with everything but empathy, you feel like you're straddled and you can't get out. The classification system is just a grouping of foods according to extent and purpose of processing. So what I am hoping is that when you pick up something in the grocery store, you can take a look at it and decide, is this really a food? Does it meet the definition of food? Will it provide sustenance for myself, my children, my family, etc.? Does it have nutrients? Can I subsist on it? Will it give me strength? That kind of thing. Minimally processed food here meets this definition, and minimally processed and unprocessed are typically those foods that you recognize in the store. That may be a function of the way it's been for years and years on end. So white flour occurs here because the flour is extracted from the endosperm, but we have to go back and fortify it. So it doesn't seem technically like it's a healthy food. So I don't want you to think of health and unhealth, except when we get to group 4, we have to think about some of the unhealthy foods that we are eating. Oils, fats, salts, and sugars, they end up in their own group without the idea of imitation products. So let's take an imitation vanilla extract product would not belong here. It would in fact belong in group 4 because it is a petroleum-based product. Processed foods oftentimes get a bad rap, and the reason why is that it's not nutritionally terribly different from the unprocessed food, except that it perhaps has had salt added to it. So take a can of corn that is, it's still corn, it still has the nutrition components of corn, but it's had salt added to it. So everything gets lumped into processed food, and there are some redeemable foods here that fall into the processed category. Ultra processed is a little bit tougher because these really aren't the foods that meet the criteria for that food definition. However, we have some products here that you have become familiar with. Plant milks, because they're made with stabilizers and gums, they fall here in ultra processed, and also imitation meat. So some people are allergic to dairy. They have those plant milks as a way to gain calcium, etc. Next time, really like to talk about the next level of ultra processed foods and some of the research that's been done on those foods. Also, other weight gain influences. And we'll just kind of briefly go over the body weight planner developed by Dr. Kevin Hall at the National Institute of Health. Thanks for listening. Bye bye.